was telling us that like with each game the expectation is to try and get better and better and better. I'm just curious kind of what are the benchmarks that he's kind of giving you guys to I guess give you something to aim for.
Yeah, like today the biggest one for him was flow, right? And just trying to condition us to play the way that he feels is best for us, is obviously to just flow and just be in constant action. I feel like that's the easiest way for us to get easy buckets, and for the defense to just always be in a scramble. So that's been the biggest thing he just wants us to focus on, is sort of always trying to find a way to be in second action after our first one. So it just provides us more opportunities to move the ball and get easier shots.
How much does that kind of help with a little bit of the engagement, especially when you guys might be not necessarily getting the amount of touches that you might want on a certain action?
No, it's great. That's I feel like what he wants most out of running this new flow style of play is for everybody to get more involved, and for us to just have more unpredictability with our offense, and with the amount of talent and youth we have. I feel like it'll help us a lot.
Yeah.
Where does physicality and toughness kind of fall in what he's been talking about?
It's definitely up there. He's definitely been a coach that says if a guy has a free layup, he doesn't want us to take anybody out, but a hard foul's a good foul. Yeah. Don't let anybody get anything easy, right? He wants everybody to earn whatever they get on us. Obviously, he understands NBA guys, are going to score the basketball, but it's just our job to not let that runway just be, a free one. You're going to have to pay a price to come in the paint, or you're really going to have to earn your buckets. And obviously that starts with physicality and toughness and being ready to guard.
So you look at it with about 9 games left in the season. What do you like where you guys are at right now, headed down the stretch, in opposed to where you were earlier in the season?
I consider myself a perfectionist, so I don't love it, right? I would always want us to be top of the standings, but being as it may, just got to be real with our situation. Understand, there's a lot of teams in our range, and every game counts to the utmost at this point in the season. With, like I said, with the play-in and whatnot, and us trying to get 6, trying to do whatever we can do, and that involves winning. So this is really about us trying to lock in and stay focused on the next game ahead of us.
Double back on that, you want to be playing your best ball down the stretch. How difficult is that with a new coach trying to implement a system?
I wouldn't say it's too difficult, but it definitely throws a monkey wrench in there. Obviously, having a new coach who wants to have a new style of play, I feel like coach has done a good job of not trying to overload us in terms of the basketball. But as you said, it's just not easy. Coach wants different things than Coach Nate did. And at the end of the season, when we want to turn it up, it just makes it a little bit more difficult. But it's something that we're all professionals, and I feel like we can handle. But it's just new stuff. You're gonna have to take time to adjust, and we want to adjust as fast as we can.
You guys are now at the kind of top of the offensive rebounding stat line, and at the top with second chance points. You guys kind of struggled with that a little bit at the beginning of the season. What has been working a little bit more for you guys to be better on the offensive glass?
Yeah, that's one thing coaches put an emphasis on us for, is to crash. I feel like we have a great group of bigs and guards as well that can crash. And I gotta say, shouts out to Big O, who's been amazing crashing offensive glass, been a beast. Obviously CC does his thing, but I've seen that uptick in O. I can throw myself in there, but I think Big O's really led the charge with us and showing everybody how you can create offense for yourself by crashing that glass, as well as Coach telling us to crash. So it's been a full team effort, and something that we want to continue to get. Those are easy buckets, free points as we call them. So I like those.
Kind of tailing on her question, you've got you and O and Clint, you've got 3 of the top 25 shot blockers in the league. How do you coordinate who's going to be crashing the glass versus who's going to be protecting the rim? And 3 out of 25. Billy checked me like half an hour ago.
That's big time. That means we got some really good paint defenders on this squad. Obviously, we see that, and I feel like we can sort of look into the future and predict that we were going to have that, but to actually see it solidified, that just lets me know we're going in the right direction. Hopefully it just gives us more confidence to continue to play how we're playing, protect the rim, and do what we're supposed to do, protect the paint.
But specifically with regard to like a transition play, how do you know like who's going to crash versus who's going to get back? do you kind of let CC go crash and you see, okay, now's a spot where I'm supposed to get back and protect the rim? Like, how does that balance happen in transition between offensive rebounding and sort of protecting the rim in transition?
I mean, something we're figuring out. I wouldn't say there's like a strict rule. It's a read. I would say if there's a time that I know I'm going into the paint to crash is when I have a small. Or if there's a mismatch, if a big has a small, then I feel like in all scenarios, coach would be okay with you crashing. Other than that, it depends on where you're at. If it's a three or, just reading the game and seeing if you can realistically go get that, right? For me, OCC, maybe DJ, it might be more realistic for us to crash more. But for the guards, it's definitely more of a situational read. So I think that's how only way I can answer it, because there's no guaranteed or no set way to know.
I know Quinn has emphasized spacing a lot on the offensive end, but I'm curious maybe on the defensive end how that has kind of played out in terms of you guys maybe finding the matchups a little bit better, or is it just a communication thing that you guys have seen more communication on the defensive side?
I mean, that's just something we always want to do is have more communication. Were you saying on the switching?
Yeah.
He hasn't been too big on just outright switches, but as again, he's more read. He's a flow, situational, just a basketball guru, as I say. So it's nothing that's solidified. He just wants guys to be basketball players. And if there is a red situation where I'm with a big, I'm sort of a hybrid. But for Dre might not switch with Clint. He might switch with DJ and myself, and I might not switch with Trey. I might hedge or whatever. So it's all situational and based on who's guarding who and what action is happening. And he just wants us to not overthink, but to make reads, So that's the biggest part.